they know the course, and dude, just watching them go through those corners and those speeds.
Mm-hmm. Is that like Pikes Peak?
Yeah, that kind of
okay.
stuff. Yeah.
We are recording, so they got the
I just think
last
it'd be fun to do, like almost like they do ski racing. It's like, all right, you start now, and then 30 seconds you start, and then 30 seconds you start. And whoever gets 200 kilometers down the road first wins.
Indeed. For those of you joining us, we were just talking about hill climbs.
But obviously, if you're passing people, you're gonna win.
We are now live for the Bathurst race.
Grotesque.
Did you guys hear me before or no?
No.
Okay,
Nah.
I gotta reboot these.
Disconnected. Connected. Channel switch.
Administrator engaged.
There you go. It's your boy, Thomas Wadges.
Thomas was
Thomas the Wedge was.
the Polish Canadian driver.
Poland and the masters of the universe.
Oh, we found where the aliens are crewing at. It's one Michael McGracken.
No, they're all alien crew members. That's what happens at Bathurst.
Caw-caw! Oh, we got 2 Gulf oils. Awesome.
We do have 2 Gulf oils for this race. Yes, we do. We have a
Yes.
Porsche Gulf oil and I want to say it's a McLaren Gulf oil, I believe.
No one cared who I was until I put on the oil.
That's true. Welcome to Bathurst for the second endurance round of the Zero Championship. We're looking for possibly a 4th different winner this season in 4 races. We've had 3 different ones so far, with wins by Paul Riccobene, Darcy Parkinson, and Yevgeny Lazorenko, and there's a good chance we'll get another one because Yevgeny and Darcy are not here.
This is false. I have won all the races.
I mean, you are Bane, so yes.
Yeah.
And they are off, heading into the first corner. Looks like a bit of a bad start there by the Red Dragon car of John Pacheco. And some contact in the background. Wesley Stokes, Tom Waz, Mike McGracken, and looked like Mike O'Leary caught up in that.
Living up to its name.
Technicolor yawn in the background.
That's true. Caleb Gonzalez is leading the way from Martin Lauer and Benjamin Schwari, with Paul Riccobene in 4th place and Eric Friesen in 5th place.
Interesting to see where everybody's going to try to pass here. Most of the time at Bathurst, you want to just follow up the mountain and follow back down the mountain. All the passes will be in the 1st and 3rd sector. Interested to see if anybody's going to take that chance to pass while they're on the mountain.
Pretty much. I mean, there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities on the mountain, that is for sure.
Makes it more fun to watch,
and
though.
Apologies for the background noise, everybody. There was some problems. But we are good to go now.
The man on the silver mountain.
Now, Travis, question for you. Is there an advantage in Eric Friesen driving an Australian-themed car?
I would say absolutely that's cheating. Automatic time penalty.
No, it's got to be what do they call that? A weight penalty in horse racing?
The ballast.
Yeah, they got to carry 14 wallabies in the passenger seat.
Eric Friesen is driving a car that is sponsored by a sponsor that actually has a turn on this track named after it.
Ooh. It's a lot of sponsorship money.
Indeed.
I believe
We'd
that's
like to buy
a
part of the
conflict
track.
of interest.
The grid's still pretty close together. No one is more than 7 seconds apart after the first lap. Wesley Stokes is definitely out of position back down in 17th place. I expect to see him come towards the front of the field before the end of this race. And Caleb Gonzalez has pulled out to 1.3 seconds out ahead. Those who know Caleb are aware of his amazing pace, as Paul Riccobene moving to make a move on the Nissan Godzilla. Ben Schwari for 3rd place. And a very heated Porsche battle in the background there between Eric Friesen, Gerardo Del Val, and Simeon Necker.
Porch battle, is that like when you got 2 old guys and they're really rocking and whittling as fast as they can?
No.
Crazy kids and crazy porches.
I'm not really sure what a Porsche battle would be. That would be intriguing.
Like dueling banjos, I think.
Probably dueling banjos. You're probably correct on that.
Ding 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 ding.
Is there a white Southern Colonel involved?
Maybe. And it's pretty miles.
For those not familiar with Bathurst, it's an interesting juxtaposition circuit because you have the first and third sector, which are down the hill, that are very fast, reward you for relatively low downforce, high straight line speed, and then there's the top of the hill where we are now, heading down it, which is very twisty and really rewards you for downforce and grip. So you're in a position where your car is almost by default compromised somewhere on this track. If you're driving a Nissan that's on the hill, for example, if you're driving an Audi that's in the first and third sector. And you also compromise it further by how you set your car up. So, Travis, would you like to explain how you would set up the car for Bathurst? Where do you see the keys to success?
In the ignition, Mike.
Absolutely. Actually, that's a good question. We're running our 12-hour race here Saturday, and we are going with the Marcos Ambrose approach of little downforce and taking advantage of the straightaways, sectors 1 and 3. And the reason for that is over the mountain, like you said earlier, there's really not anywhere to pass, so all you got to do is basically just hold your line and nobody's going to get around you. So overall pace through the climb and the descent, not as important as it is being able to take advantage of passing opportunities on the long straightaways here.
I would agree with that largely, although I was driving an Audi in this race, so of course not taking my own advice. And that might be why I'm 50 plus seconds behind the next car. We ride with Silver Cup leader, both in the race and overall, Simeon Naku. Pretty dominant. He's had 3 silver wins already this season and is looking fairly confident for a 4th. Debuting Gerardo Del Vea in 6th position. To differentiate, that's the RUF, not the Porsche. For those unaware, of course, the RUF was basically a way to get a Porsche in the game without it being a Porsche. RUF is a tuning company that specializes very much in various Porsches. Paul Riccobene on the tail of Martin Lauer, and of course, those who are familiar with real-life motorsports know that a Porsche won here at the 12 Hours of Bathurst, driven by Matt Campbell, Roman Dumas, and I don't recall who the third driver was. Perhaps Travis or Byron because
no.
Byron actually watched most of the 12 hours.
I was 90%. I'm going to go 90% of that 12-hour race.
I am impressed.
I did have to go prep ribs and then had a brief siesta after all my extraneous circumstances in that regard. And then at one point I did have to step out for race fuel and barbecue sauce. So, but other than that, I was in front of the computer watching them on YouTube. I couldn't tell you who's in what car or what car finished where or anything like that, but I did see the duct tape car, and there was some. I saw one of the 2 female drivers went out on the track, and somebody rear-ended her immediately and deliberately to take her out. It was fucking retarded.
I doubt it was deliberate, but it was pretty bad.
Uphill, too wide, and the guy right behind slams right into her.
Actually, you know what's ironic is literally this turn here that he rear-ended her on.
They're going right up here, and she's on the outside, and the guy behind just guns it and slams her into the wall. Just like, what are you doing?
Caleb Gonzalez is starting to weave away at the front, up over 5 seconds, putting on a bit of an Enrique Hervas level performance at the moment. Still followed by Lauer, Riccobene, Schwari, Friesen, Delvea, and Naku, who appear to be the 7 cars who have kind of broken away from the field. Joe Racer's a bit further back, battling with Richard Higgs and Ariel Zatoni, and then there's a group led by Rick Martel with Mark Clapzul, Wesley Stokes, John Pacheco, Mike O'Leary, and Australia's own Dean Reimers, not representing the country very well right now, down in 16th position.
I would have a funny quip here, but I was pouring another beer.
What car are you driving for your 12-hour race there, Travis?
We're going with the AMG Mercedes.
It's probably one of the strongest cars around here in real life, so that seems like a smart choice.
And also one of my favorite Radiohead songs.
Indeed.
I'm also compiling a playlist for this particular track. I'm not done yet.
Playlist in what sense? I'm intrigued by this.
Musical.
Okay.
To listen to while driving.
Okay.
It's going to be good. I just need more songs. I've only got 4 right now.
That's good.
But at some point, I will have, point in the next 31 minutes, I will have at least 6. It'll be an EP.
It'll be an EP.
We'll have to run down those in the post-race coverage.
Indeed.
These are the songs you must listen to while driving Bathurst.
Caleb continues to eke out a further lead in his 0 debut this season. He has raced with 0 before. The only proper debutant is, right there, Gerardo Del Valle, who is in 6th position.
So he's working hard to get up into 5th. He
but it's
this
not
close. He's going to have a good run down the hill in the back there.
Now the only thing I have is I think the Porsche probably outruns him in the last sector, because there are, as much as I was saying how the rough is basically just an excuse to get a Porsche into the game, there are BOP related differences between the two cars, and I do believe the Porsche has a little bit more get up and go. But you can obviously counter that by running lower wing. Wesley Stokes putting the pressure on Rick Martel in a battle for 11th place, and Mark Clapp-Zoul in the background in the Corvette is coming up to them.
Gotta say, I'm surprised the Corvette's that far back in the grid. I thought it would be really good here. I mean, it's not.
He did
super
qualify
high
in last place, so he's moved forward 5 places off of his grid position. I'd say he's actually doing fairly well.
That's a decent move there.
And Wesley Stokes making a move, little Porsche on Porsche violence as Wesley takes over 11th place. And things are getting real interesting with Joe Racer, Richard Higgs, and Ariel Zattoni, the McLaren Mercedes combo here. I really like that orange Mercedes, actually. Very, very nice looking car. Very eye-catching. And of course, Joe Racer going to the school of Vinnie Roberts Racing, which is go with the chrome car. You'll blind your opponents if nothing else.
All right, I have 6 songs.
All right.
All right, your 6-song playlist for Bathurst, in no particular order, are The Man on the Silver Mountain by Dio, Over the Mountain by Ozzy Osbourne, I Am the Mountain by Stone Jesus, Mountain Song by Jane's Addiction, Over the Hills and Far Away as covered by Nightwish, and Over the Hills and Far Away as originally done by Led Zeppelin, but is actually a completely different Over the Hills and Far Away song.
I like
There
it.
you go. There's your 6 songs for Bathurst. Live it, love it, and enjoy yourself.
I highly recommend it. It's a good one.
You don't know about Stone Jesus, now you know.
Not to cut in, but Caleb Gonzalez has randomly dropped from 1st to 7th place. I don't think we saw what happened to him.
Was that a pit stop?
He didn't lose enough ground to have made a pit stop, I don't think. Could have been a drive-through penalty, I suppose.
Maybe.
What did he lose there? He was up about 6 seconds, so call it 8, 9, 10, 11... He's lost only about 16 seconds. I don't think that's enough time for a pit, or definitely not enough time for a pit, and it's definitely not enough time for a drive-through penalty. So I'm a little puzzled as to what happened there.
Maybe a dingo ate your lead.
Anyways, he's dropped down to 7th place, and that has given the lead over to Martin Lauer in the Porsche from Paul Riccobene, Ben Schwari, this man Eric Friesen, and the man right behind him, Gerardo Del Valle, and Simeon Naku kind of in this lead group still, though Simeon is kind of falling off the back end, but still winning the Silver Cup battle, so probably quite happy with his performance so far.
I was waiting for Clapp-Zoul to run somebody off the road and then claim it was their fault.
He has passed Wesley Stokes and Rick Martel while we haven't been watching. He's up to 11th place.
Oh, I've been watching.
He's on a charge. I don't think we'll see him make much of a charge from this. He's about 10 seconds behind Richard Higgs, the 10th place car. So not a lot of chances to catch up there for at least the time being.
Any chance we could get Mr. Richard Higgs to marry somebody with the last name Boson and then hyphenate that shit?
That would be intriguing.
I would be intrigued.
Speaking of Richard Higgs, here he is in the crap racing car.
Richard the God Particle Higgs.
He has lost a spot to Ariel Zattoni in the other Mercedes there ahead of him. Has made a move into 9th place. And we resumed the battle for 4th place. And I was going to say Porsche supremacy, then I forgot the leading car is a Porsche. So the battle for runner-up amongst the Porsches. Porsche once again doing very well. 1st, 4th, 5th, 6th. All Porsche cars. Wesley Stokes is also a Porsche in the field. He is not doing quite as well. He's down to 16th position. I would suggest that he has had some kind of problem.
Solving the problem.
Because he's behind the Camaro. And that's not really a place that Wesley's terribly accustomed to being.
I would agree. I haven't seen your boy Elamori. He's Division 1 though, right?
Azar does not race with the Zero Racing, unfortunately.
What?
The time just doesn't work for him. It's like, you know, I'm going to take a wild guess and say probably about 3, 4 in the morning for him.
I suppose that may be a valid excuse.
And Gerardo making a move on Eric Friesen as he takes 4th position. Hopefully we will, when we have a pair of Suzuka races still to do for the GT2 series, which I believe Azar may have been in. So, possible return of the Eel. He also will be contesting the ESR Academy Cup for those interested in sharpening their skills.
If anybody wants any other musical tips, check out the Speed Racer theme song as remixed by Aphex Twin. You won't be sad at all.
I can't see how it... Whoa! Losing control. Gerardo losing control and meets the wall a little bit, and he'll lose that hard-earned 4th place back to Eric Friesen, and may come under attack here from another Porsche of Simeon Naku. Caleb Gonzalez is also on the charge, trying to regain his lead. We still don't know what happened to him, but he's back in 7th place and is on the charge. And there's currently a battle going on for 11th place that is as old as the series is almost. Mark Klapzul versus Rick Martel.
It's only half as sexy as it was before. Although I do like the Jim Beam fucking logos on all the banners. That's good. Did they just not have enough sponsorship money to put names on there? Is that what that was?
Don't know. The sponsorship at these tracks don't necessarily match their real-life components.
Madness.
Yeah, used to be Jim Beam. I can't remember what it is now.
I think it's Ice Break now.
Yeah, that's it.
They just put Budweiser on everything. Let's spray paint Budweiser all the way down the track.
Well, Caleb Gonzalez has caught up to the back of this fight for 4th place, so he'll be looking to go forward in the field. We know he's got the pace. He's got the pace on everybody. He was running away with it in front until he had that problem that we don't necessarily know the details of. But catching is one thing, passing is another. We'll see if he can do that, particularly with, again, we highlighted the lack of overtaking opportunities, particularly on the hill. But that Mercedes he is driving should be very strong in the straightaways. He'll be looking to pick off these trio Porsches in relatively quick order if he can, though. Further back in the silver battle, it is Simeon Naku leading from Joe Racer and Richard Higgs. Rounding out the top 5 are Mark Klapzul, Rick Martel, and Mike O'Leary. Pardon me, that's the top 6. Ariel Zatoni has slipped back to 11th place. Don't know what happened to him. He was running ahead of Higgs in 9th place, but has lost spots to Higgs as well as Mark Labzul.
I'm going to go with Flying Wallaby to the windshield.
It's like Gonzalez has caught the Porsches.
He is definitely caught up to the
See how
Porsches.
quick he can get through them.
Well, he's one of the cars we were talking about. This is going to be the area of the track where he should be strong. That Mercedes is a beast in a straight line.
Here comes Gonzalez. He's a demon on wheels.
He legitimately is. We call him an alien for a reason.
Put him in the wall! Oh, not close enough.
And he's right on the back of Simeon Naku, now about slightly over a half second behind him.
Now, is liquid Molly's from that video game with solid Molly, and there's revolver Molly or something? I can't remember.
Liquid Molly is an oil company.
I know. It's funnier if I do it that way, though.
If it's Liquid Molly, sponsor of Solid Gear.
Yes. Solid Gear Metal.
Now Gerardo is going after the 4th place car of Eric Friesen, which is only going to help Caleb Gonzalez, because if you're fighting for position, you tend to slow yourself down. And that Mercedes is very, very close, although losing a bit of ground on the hill, as you would expect. It's these Porsches should be one of the strongest cars on the hill. But when it comes to going down the hill, that Mercedes should... Oh, God!
Oh, my good golly. That man's dead.
All that breaking down of what Caleb Gonzalez might be able to do, and he maybe did. He flipped the car on its roof.
Breakdance.
Caleb the Flapjack Gonzalez.
Indeed. Whoa.
Flip wed toasty, baby.
He appears to be moving again, though.
Awesome.
He's managed to roll it back on the wheel.
Do we have a new candidate for Sith Lord?
Probably. What's more alarming is he's closing the gap back to the Porsches already. Nothing can shake the Peruvian ace, Caleb Gonzalez. Although he's dropping back now, so I think he may have had another moment.
Maybe he's got some of that Peruvian driving powder.
Tony D'Souza would approve.
See.
Out at the front, Martin Lauer pulled out a little over 4-second lead over Paul Riccobene, who is still under pressure for Ben Schwarry. Not going to say anything Caster's Curse-wise, because, I mean, we did see Caleb Gonzalez with a massive lead. Now he's back in 7th place, so anything can happen. This is a highly demanding track.
Today's race in Bathurst brought to you by Peruvian driving powder. Helps you feel great and scrub your gums clean.
True.
Looks like Naku may have went with a higher downforce option than these other two, because he was closing the gap as soon as he stepped out of line, and it's like he just hit a wall. And
speaking
now
of
he has
hitting a wall,
hit a wall.
He has actually hit the wall. Richard Higgs putting the pressure on Joe Racer in a battle of McLaren versus Mercedes, kind of related cars. The car in the background there is Dean Reimers. He is down a lap after having probably some accidents that we have not been privy to.
See.
Hometown crowd, not enough to get Dean Reimers up into a battle for a significant position.
Perhaps he needs a dose of Peruvian driving powder.
Thomas was getting out of the way, but he's also lost his front end, so
that's a problem.
You
have to wheelie the whole course.
The Camaro is not the greatest of balanced and gripped cars with its front end. By the way, Caleb Gonzalez is already back up on the back of Simeon Naku, despite flipping his car on its roof.
Well, I mean, honestly, he saved weight by making it convertible.
The roof is still there.
I can't imagine how.
Surprised he's got the straight on the speed on the straight. That was That was a heck of a roll and a hit on the wall.
Heck of a roll, indeed. But it doesn't seem like he's had any significant damage to the car, to be honest.
Did the makers of the game really not take into account that things might flip over?
Maybe not. Maybe
We don't need to do damage models for the top of the roof.
there definitely are not damage models at the top of the roof. Now, in fairness, Simeon did assist him into catching up by, hitting the wall that we were talking about before. But still, an immense drive from the Peruvian after what could have been a fatal accident. And the battle continues for fourth place between Eric Friesen and Gerardo. Gerardo is all over the back of the Canadian racer.
Yeah, closing in on the end of the race. I'm surprised he backed out of it and let him go, because he definitely had the preferred line going into Griffin's there.
He did, but it may have been inviting some contact at the same time. And it could also just be he's got the confidence that he can take this. Looking further down, the other battles of note. Caleb Gonzalez all over the back of Simeon Naku. Ben Chouari still in the fight for second place. Whoa, a little bit of a moment there. I'm
I
surprised.
just had to clean something out from between the teeth there.
I'm surprised that the pylons are actually still standing. Those who are unaware, Thomas Waz has a reputation amongst pylons. They fear him, and there he is, getting kind of in the way of this battle between Naku and Gonzalez. He still has no front end. He may want to go get that fixed.
Nah, front end's overrated. It's too much weight.
He's losing ground very rapidly. He's dropped out of the points-paying positions at this point. Although he is holding a silver point position, so there is that still. Caleb Gonzalez all over the back of Simeon Naku, silver leader versus debutant. Battle for 6th place. And you cannot get much closer than that without finding a way around, that's for sure.
You're gonna get that close, you need to buy dinner first.
Caleb's going to go on down the inside, and we cut away. It looks like Simeon has retained the position. For the record, we will also have the Spectator Software 1.6.1 coming out, which will be used for the next race. So, hopefully, we will continue to improve the AI that governs whether we're watching a battle or not, but we are watching this side-by-side battle, and that is really a good thing. Caleb Gonzalez, and we're cutting away again.
Really want to see if he can hang out on the outside.
It looks like he did. He's ahead of Naku by, less than, slightly over 1/10 of a second, but, and now he's driving away from him by the looks of it. Now, Naku can come back at him, though, because we talked about the Mercedes being really strong in a straight line. It's not strong on the hill. So, we talked about it being difficult to pass, but difficult and impossible are two different things. Particularly after having seen Caleb flip the car on the hill previously.
Caleb over easy Gonzalez.
Gerardo still putting the pressure on Eric Friesen, turning the screw, as it were.
That is a quality song by Queens of the Stone Age.
It is. Just a general shout out to RaceApp, RaceApp and Race Room. Race Room really needs to give the pictures of the liveries for the roughs to RaceApp so that they actually appear in the booking list. Because right now, you cannot get a livery preview of a rough in the booking, which is a little bit of disappointment. In the meantime, Mike McGracken has crawled out of last place despite having to make 2 pit stops for damage. And Gerardo looks like he's got it done, and he does. I was going to say, that was not the greatest view for that move, though. Couldn't see where Eric Friesen had ended up. But it looked like he got pushed a bit wide.
We're going to have to do a hell of a bunch of driving to catch up with Bench Warrant. He ain't going to give that up.
That's true. They're about... they're not that far back, actually. Only about 5 seconds behind Ben Chouari. Ben Chouari still... keeping Paul Riccobene company, but I wouldn't say that there's a ton of pressure there.
He's got him right where he wants him.
Top 5 in the Silver Cup right now. Simeon Naku, Joe Racer, Richard Higgs, Rick Martel, and Mark Klapzul. They are overall 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th.
But you are kicking the absolute shit out of Dean Reimers.
I believe Dean
Look
had,
at
to
that
make Dean had to make a pit stop for some damage, I
Look
believe.
at that lead. My goodness.
And look at how that gap is closing between me and Mr. Wallace.
Whoa.
Be very, very quiet. I am hunting Camaro.
You only have to drive like an extra 25 seconds into the future.
In the meantime, Friesen is back on the attack against Gerardo. Gerardo seems to have the faster car, but at the same time, he can't drive away from Friesen, and Friesen's back in front.
Did he use his freeze ray?
I do like that ice brake livery there. That's one of my favorite Porsche ones, to be honest.
Mike's got hiccups. Call Amber Lamps.
I do. Gerardo going back on the attack. This is the corner he made the move before, but nothing this time. Caleb Gonzalez has cut the gap to these two down to about 8 seconds. We have 10 minutes to go, so it's definitely plausible that he can catch up to them. He's roughly 2 to 3 seconds a lap faster.
Dear race room, please program one of your crowd spectator people to run out onto the track once every 5,000 races.
I don't think we really need that.
I think it'd be awesome. It'd be just like real life. There's gonna be, there's always idiots that want to do dumb shit.
Oh, there absolutely are. I mean, we've seen people run out in front of Formula 1 race cars. Silverstone back in, I think it was 2001 comes to mind.
That guy did a flip.
Gerardo still putting the pressure on Eric Friesen here for 4th position. They are losing ground to Caleb Gonzalez, but probably not the concern for them right now. No other real battles on the track currently engaged. No one else is within a second of each other.
What if somebody did a Zelda-esque mod where a chicken runs out onto the track, and if you hit it, then cop cars show up and try and chase you down?
I think they could call that the Marcus Ericsson mod.
I guess.
He hit a chicken while he was bike riding.
No, nice.
It was apparently a really big chicken.
I believe it. And so does Ben Schwartz. But Ben, you can't take that big a shortcut, homie. Dude, I love you, but you can't. It's not allowed.
It's not.
Even I know
really
that.
Allowed. Not allowed. Not allowed.
Even I know that. Come on. You can't do that in golf, and you can't do that in racing. You just can't.
Gerardo has dropped off the back of Eric Friesen for now in that shortcut by Ben Schwartz. Not so much of a shortcut because he lost about 3 seconds off of Paul Riccobene due to the fact that the grass does in fact not provide as much. It provides much more friction than the road surface does.
Also, gophers.
Does Australia have gophers?
They got wombats. They're basically super gophers.
That's true, yeah. The wombat is a nasty creature.
Wombats not nap. Wombats are awesome. You shut your mouth.
They're awesome in a nasty way, which is why I like them.
They're awesome and they poop cubes.
I like how that's a qualifier.
I just learned something.
They do. Look it up. If you don't believe me, welcome to Trivia Time. Biological Trivia Time with Byron.
Simeon
It's
Naku
100%
doing a really solid job of actually keeping with Caleb Gonzalez here. I thought Caleb would kind of leave him in the dust, but it's only about a 1.2 second gap. In the meantime, in the background, McGracken has claimed another victim, passing Tom Wass.
Eliminate.
Just one more place to go, and he's in the points-paying positions.
He's in the money.
Unfortunately,
You're
it's
a minute and 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's about a minute and 18 seconds behind.
You can do it. Just shoot. Launch the blue shell.
What wouldn't really help me get into the points? I'm a lap down on the leader.
Well,
I need mushrooms is what I need.
What, you didn't take mushrooms today?
And stars.
Well, you see stars. Well, listen, you get that stuff when you take the mushrooms.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Speaking of McGracken, here he is with Ariel Zatoni and Rick Martel. He's kind of caught in the middle of the battle for 10th position.
Oh, car alarm, that one's stolen. Pull him over. Gerardo, that's a weird name for a Mexican.
Not overly. It's a fairly
I
Spanish.
thought it was more Italian than in his...
It's
what?
Latin
Never mind. If you go to Spain, I'm sure there's Gerardos.
There definitely are. I can think of a couple of soccer players with that name.
That man has a twisted roof. Or hood.
Well, this is a case of the game does not actually fix its damage model when you fix the car.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Right, you'll recall that we found that up with Chris Raymaker during the Invitational series, where we were trying to figure out why he wasn't pitting for damage. It turned out he did pit to get his damage fixed, and it just still models it like that.
He's just emotional damage now, not physical.
Although Ariel Zatoni appears to have lost his front end, so that's an intriguing problem. Simeon Naku still staying with Caleb Gonzalez, more or less. The gap has only grown about 0.4 of a second. And Ariel Zatoni, you can see there, had some significant damage to his front end, so contact with a wall or another car at some point was definitely in his past. As Mike McGracken unlaps himself from Mr. Zatoni.
I know. Oh, no, there he is. I was about to say I noticed that Clapp is no longer racing, but I just skipped over his name. Never mind.
He is in 12th position right now.
I assumed at this point he would have run himself and 43 other people off the road and then complained that it was their fault.
Seems to have had a relatively quiet race by his standards, actually.
Needs more chickens.
Possible. Martin Lauer has got his lead out to almost 6 seconds over Paul Riccobene. Ben Schwari is catching both of them, but not at a significant rate that I think it's going to really matter in the remaining 4+ minutes of this race. About 2 to 3 laps remaining. No real battles going on the circuit as we speak. The two cars closest to each other are these two here. Simeon Naku has pulled it back to about 1.2 seconds to Caleb Gonzalez, and Gerardo has pulled it back to about 1 second to Eric Friesen. Friesen appears to be held up just slightly by the lap car of John Pachea in the Red Devil McLaren, who lets both of them through now.
Surprised the racing got this spread out. Normally, Bathurst will stay grouped up. You can't pass on the mountain. Then everybody can use the slipstream on the straights, kind of keep you in a bunch.
Well, the gap from first to last in this race in terms of qualifying pace was about 6 seconds. So that will promote a level of spreading out of the field. As Caleb Gonzalez took pole with a 201 point... I want to say it was 201.7 in his Mercedes. The back-end car is doing 208s.
There we go. He gets a run out of the chase. Now we got a race.
Gerardo going down the inside of the final turn. Does he have it? Doesn't look like he does. Looks like Eric may have held this. Nope, no, Eric ate a little bit too much curb there to unsettle the car. And Gerardo back into 4th place. He's made 2 passes in the past on Friesen, which were both short-lived. We'll see if the Canadian can come back at him. And Caleb Gonzalez continues to edge closer to them, now 4.1 seconds behind this fight. I thought he would be up on this point at the fight at this point based on the pace he showed earlier, but he has definitely slowed down a little bit. Maybe the tire's not quite as grippy at this point in the race. Friesen is, for the time being, unable to make a comeback against Gerardo. In the meantime, at the front, the lead has grown to almost 7 seconds. Mark Klapzool and Rick Martel, a little bit of banging.
Oh my goodness.
In the battle for 11th place. Corvette versus Porsche.
Gulf Oil wins again.
There's a lot of history between these two, and Rick Martel's got some serious damage to the front end of the Gulf Oil Porsche.
It's just shedding weight.
Wesley Stokes is now right up on the back of this fight as well. We cut away from it. Looks like the battle for 4th place has caught up to the lapped car of Mike O'Leary's BMW. And they have been allowed through without any particular incident on the matter. Wesley Stokes and Mark Klapzool there went side by side for a bit, according to the standings there on the side. And both of them are making their way past Rick Martel, who, with a damaged car, just probably cannot resist them at this point. Eric Friesen back on the attack. 1 Canadian is falling back. 1 Canadian is trying to come forward in the field. But he gets caught around the outside, and the defensive line of Gerardo holds on to 4th place for now in this battle of Rough versus Porsche, which reigns supreme. Caleb Gonzalez is enjoying this because he's caught up to only 2 seconds behind this fight, and the door has opened for him to finish in the top 5 after flipping onto his roof.
It's a lot of ground to make up in just 1 lap.
It is, but it is not impossible, and particularly if Friesen tries to go for a move and stuffs it up. I would also like to get a good look at the battle between Mark Klapzool and Wesley Stokes, because they are 1/10 of a second apart in a battle for 11th place. Wesley's had a nice recovery drive. He was down in 17th for a while, so to get back up into 11th place now. Oh, speaking of which, Wesley's in the wall!
There you go. That's
Caster's Curse. Caster's Curse has claimed Wesley Stokes. Mark Klapzool will take 11th place, I'm pretty sure now.
See if he can make a move in Forest Elbow.
Indeed, the battle continues here for
Goes
4th
wide,
place.
trying to get the run.
The gap to Caleb Gonzalez is now 1.9 seconds, so I think Caleb is out of this unless Eric or Gerardo make a mistake.
It's going to be his last chance right here.
This
coming
is
through
his
the
last-
chase. He's close enough.
Last chance through the chase. He's side
Goes
by
for
side.
it,
Why are
and
we
we're
going
not
to this
gonna get to
fight?
see it. Wonderful.
Why are we going to this fight here?
It doesn't look like he got it done, though.
Doesn't look like he got it done. Gerardo's still ahead, but they have 1 turn left. Gerardo is still going to hold down 4th place by the looks of it, ahead of Eric Friesen and Caleb Gonzalez. Looks like Simeon Naku is going to bring it home as well. Eric, we now have back to Wesley Stokes in the highly damaged car of Rick Martel battling over 12th place, Porsche on Porsche action. And you can see Rick really not in great control of that car right now, which in its own way is making it very difficult to pass. In the meantime, Martin Lauer has won the race. We can confirm that. Wesley makes the move, so we'll recap it down. Martin Lauer defeats Paul Riccobene, Ben Schwari, Gerardo, Eric Friesen, Caleb Gonzalez, Simeon Naku, Joe Racer, Richard Higgs, and Ariel Zatoni. Your top 10. This is Mark Klapzool in 11th place, just putting a lap on Tom Waz at the moment. He is within striking distance of Ariel Zatoni. I think Ariel is running around with some front end damage, but I believe that there's not really 2 seconds to be made up here in the remainder of this race. He also has the lap car of Mike Magasevic in front of him.
Go 3 lanes wide.
And indeed, Ariel Zatoni will take home 10th position ahead of Mark Lapzool. Wesley Stokes will finish this race in 12th position. Rick Martel, 13th. Mike O'Leary, 14th. And John Pache, 15th. Those are your point-scoring cars. Your top 5 in the Silver Cup. Simeon Naku winning from Joe Racer, Richard Higgs, Mark Lapzool, and Rick Martel. Fastest lap to Caleb Gonzalez, 2:02.7. A whopping half second faster than anyone else was able to go. It's amazing speed, but didn't turn into a race victory here today for the Peruvian.
Got to give props to Wadge. That's what I'm gonna call him. Ran what I saw the whole race with no front bumper.
I don't believe it was the full race. I believe he said he lost his bumper about halfway through. But
must have been when we first saw him in the wall.
He did drag that Camaro around for a long time with a damaged front end, and as me and Travis can testify, and we're going to say Byron can testify as well, Camaro does not drive well under the best of circumstances, forget when it's taking damage to the front end.
You didn't do the Devon. I'm now disappointed.
Oh, my brother! Testify!
Correct.
And get the table.
Yeah.
That is all from Bathurst. The circuit heads off to Sonoma in the WTCC layout for 2 rounds of sprint action in round number 4 of the championship. We leave today with Paul Riccobene, the championship leader, and Martin Lauer is indeed our 4th different winner of the season. Gentlemen, do you have anything to say to finish this up?
I've seen so much goddamn Bathurst in the last 5 days, it's not funny.
Well, prepare for more on Saturday, because you got 12 more hours
Oh, yeah! We're going to live stream the whole thing, 12 hours?
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
Indeed. We'll put a link to Travis's channel once again if you want to watch the live stream of his race from Bathurst, 12 hours long.
We'll do it.
I recommend it.
If it's going to be up on his YouTube channel live streaming, why don't we do a Twitch live stream of him live streaming on, and then it's like a meta stream.
Live Inception. It depends on whether it runs into my GT2 race that is planned for the same day.
Cancelled.
I missed the first one. I need revenge. Team Cadillac needs me.